Hello and welcome to Building the Premier Accounting Firm. I'm your host, Roger Connect, president of Universal Accounting Center, and this is a podcast dedicated to individuals who happen to own and operate successful bookkeeping, accounting, and tax businesses. It's here that we talk about a variety of things that are essential for your success, not only including your mental health, but more importantly, training for your staff, your tech stack, pricing, looking at things that you can do as to marketing and selling your services, offering quality accounting services, onboarding your clients, retaining your clients, and getting paid what you're worth. So with all those things to be accomplished, we invite on the show each and every week guests, experts in their own right as to how it is that we can be focusing on our business. And each and every week, I'm excited for those conversations because not only do I get to learn things, but I get to share these very important things with you as well. Now, today, I happen to have someone on the show that I've known for years. She's someone I think very highly of, and more importantly, I've had the privilege of working with her. It's Dr. Patience Jackson Rose. Now, Patience happens to be someone that I hold a good deal of esteem for simply because of a lot of the things that she's accomplished. She happens to be someone that is a distinguished leader, renowned for transformational impact in the realms of business development and entrepreneurship. She happens to be the CEO of Red Worldwide Inc., and she is a very instrumental person in propelling businesses forward. So, Patience, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Roger. I am so excited to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. So, first of all, I'm going to forgo the Dr. Rose and go with Patience.
Thank you.
You're fine.
I'm just Patience.
There we go. We like Patience. So, Patience, I've known you for years, and I've known of what you've done as it relates to your business and the things that you're involved in. But share with my listeners a little bit of your backstory as to how you got into accounting.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I came into accounting the backwards way.
Okay.
I actually, I started off with numbers, and I told the story the other day. I didn't even realize it. When I was in college, I was counting money for Six Flags. It was Magic Mountain back in the day. And I was a ticket taker, and I was one of the people who they trusted to count $20,000 a day. And so I was in school to do something different at the time, but I needed, extra cash. And so that was my everyday job. And I kind of rather liked it. And so I went from there to being a treasurer of this and the treasurer of that. And eventually I did teach school for many, many years. But in my second life, I call it my second 50, I went back to school and got an MBA. And having done that, I really had been working a lot with clients, in the advisory role. And I was doing the value builder thing and with my clients, which you and I both are very knowledgeable about. And it just kind of morphed into clients needed more, and I kept sending them to other people who were accountants, and finding that the accountants did not have a full service operation. And so I had this dream of being able to offer people, more than just tax or more than just business advisory. I wanted to give them the full realm of the services that they could have a well-rounded view of their business and actually have actionable steps that would help them to, improve their bottom and top line revenue and create more valuable companies.
I love it. Now, obviously, that story there involved working with numbers and finding yourself working as a treasurer in a variety of ways, but ultimately ended up with you having your own business or businesses and offering accounting services, among other things. I'm curious, there's a difference between I love numbers, I like what I'm doing, I'm in the accounting space, it's the chosen profession, and I'm going to start a business. Where did the entrepreneurial part come from?
Okay, my parents were entrepreneurs alongside of their everyday businesses. And I learned the entrepreneurial way from a child. And so even when I was teaching school, I had another business on the side. Every place where I've ever worked, I've always worked a job and had a business or a couple of businesses. So I don't know that I know another way of life, okay? Because for me, if someone has a problem and I have a solution, that means create something or infuse something, if it's in my in my way. In other words, in my way of dealing with people, and then if infuse it with abilities for someone to serve them. If it's not me personally, but to bring alongside of me a team so that we can serve. And service first has always been my thing. And so, of course, in that, entrepreneurship follows.
I love this. You brought up service. I think that's very important because as a people business, that's something I think we overlook when we think it's a numbers business. As a people's business, I do think it comes down to service. And I know that faith is very much a very big part of your life, and service is a very appropriate way to start that type of discussion. How does faith come into your business relationships?
Oh, wow. Good question. And thank you for asking that. So, for me, because of the fact that I operate from a place of service and a place of caring for people, um, faith is always going to be the main factor. It's the way I serve. The I guess the motivation for serving is to have compassion. And so, in my faith tradition, we are big on traditions, and we're big on the tradition of having compassion. Our main focus has been to see someone with a need and do whatever we can do to meet that need, even if it's indirectly. And as a result of that, in our companies, often we will have places where our faith crosses over into what we're doing business wise. We sometimes have people that come and they have emergencies. I had an emergency yesterday. Someone's father's health is failing. They needed documents prepared immediately. Things needed to go to the hospital. Earlier in the day, I had another situation very similar to that where we had to help weigh in on an injunctive order, and we had to prepare documents for that and prepare all of the financials to go with it. And so these things happen often. And we have to find our place in life to say, okay, this is the purpose that I've been put here. And if this is the purpose, then I need to make sure that I'm fulfilling my purpose with excellence and with love and compassion so that people know, that when they come to us, they don't leave us with, out being heard and their needs being met.
So you're tapping into this, and I think you've even mentioned a few of these things, but as it relates to principles, how do you actually use principles as part of the conversations in your daily interactions with your customers?
Wow. Okay. So our main concept, and we have the two companies. And so one of our companies is a nonprofit organization, and the name of it is RED Worldwide. And RED is an acronym for Research, Educate, and Develop. And within the guise of what we do every single day is education. And we talk to people about being lifelong proponents of education and opening themselves up to receiving information and knowing that, sometimes that information is going to replace what we thought was. And in the area of finance, I'm sure that people have feelings about, accounting and, they have feelings about this whole area of life, especially people of color. I have found they have a real issue with, receiving information sometimes from accountants or from people in the accounting industry, just because of the fact that they don't feel like they are very present in the conversation. They don't understand. And so we do a lot in education on the nonprofit side to help people gain the knowledge. And so our principles of making sure that we help them to know that we are researching, we're providing them with the ability to research. We have software, we have apps, multiple, ways, courses, all kinds of ways for them to educate themselves. Some of it is free. A lot of the services we provide there are free. So we make it so that we don't exclude anybody. And that's a part of our principles in our company, is to make this a situation where people worldwide have access, to the information so they can participate in the financial conversations, and then, that helps, I think.
Yeah, hearing you share all that, one of the things that came to mind was a Stephen Coveyism. It's the no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And that lifelong learning idea that you're expressing there is, I think, something that we can kind of dive into, because you're right. Numbers, financials, money, that can be very intimidating to some individuals. And so they feel inadequate inadequate. And if they're, let's use the term, uneducated about certain things, they become intimidated. And as it relates to accounting, they just don't know what questions to ask. And when you're working with business owners that are very competent in their space, they know their product, they may not be as confident and let's say eager to know or reveal themselves when it comes to the accounting information that we're trying to provide them. And so, yes, helping them learn and understand and coming at it from the point of view that I'm here to help you understand is a much different relationship than just here are the numbers. I hope you know what you're looking at, and I'll talk to you next month.
Right. Oh, no, you said a mouthful there because I find that frequently I have people, have the conversation with me, and after we have, completed a service or we're working on a particular project, the first thing they say is, nobody ever told me this before. Nobody took the time to explain it to me. You know, thank you so much for, taking the time to help me, understand. I wrote an entire book because people were, constantly saying the same thing over and over again. And after I ran into about the 20th person that said to me that no one had explained to them how taxes worked, or no one explained to them how, why they needed a trust, why they should have estate planning. I wrote a book called Fluency in Finance. And the book is just such a short book. I've given it away so many times, because I have come into the knowledge that, people just didn't grow up with others, in their circle, that explained things. They just did it in front of them, but they didn't explain why. And so this is, really a point that one of the other reasons why I decided to go into accounting, and really open up a firm at that point, is because I kept hearing the same thing over and over again when I was working with my advisory, clients.
If you're looking to advance your career in accounting, you need to enroll now in the Job Placement Assistance Program. This course is created for accounting professionals to find a new job, apply for a promotion, or get a better position within a company. It is the turnkey process to actually help you better interview, get the job you deserve, and get paid what you're worth. For more information on how you can take advantage of this offer, go to the episode description. Enroll now in the Job Placement Assistance Program. Do it for free and act now. Now, one of the things I want to kind of dive back into is you're a lifelong learner yourself. I know that I started by introducing you as Dr. Rose, but at the same time, I know that you've actually continued to do your studies and you have numerous certifications, trainings. I'm curious, what drives you to have this hunger to learn so many things? I believe you have as many as 17 certifications and such. I mean, clearly you're the epitome of that lifelong learning. Where does that passion come from?
The passion really comes from, I've always been a person that likes to know, but I think that beyond that is I've had people that needed the knowledge and they couldn't afford to go to school themselves. So what I'm able to do is, because of the fact that I have some resources that allow me to go to school, I get good grades, so I get scholarships, I have other types of ways that people have infused me in, with capital, and I've been able to attend or get this particular certification and that particular certification. And I've done it specifically for my clients, because when I go to school and I gain the knowledge, then I have more to share. I create courses, I do webinars and workshops and seminars. We create apps and I have what the newest podcast that we have is called 5 Minute Finance. And basically people have this little app they can put on their phone or on their tablet, or even they can use their computer, and they get 5 minute nuggets every single day. They can go in there, and watch and find out more about this knowledge, this new knowledge with regards to finance and, how they can utilize it personally or in their business. So I keep going to school so I have more to share, more from a bigger, I call it a bigger repository, okay, to draw from that I might be able to, give others. It's not just for me, it's for others.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So now one of the things I want to talk about is strategic alliances. I know that you found those to be very beneficial to your business. You formed an alliance with an institution like Texas Manufacturing Assistance Center. How do these partnerships enhance your ability to really reach companies and service your clients?
Well, some of the partnerships that I have are specifically designed just to serve my clients. We had to really think about the one with the alliance with the Texas Manufacturing Assistance Center. They are part of University of Texas Arlington, and we weren't going to get any financial remuneration out of it personally, or there wasn't going to be anything for our company. Sometimes you have these alliances and you get a stipend, or there's something that you get for doing it. But in this particular case, it would facilitate that our end clients would get about 100 hours in manufacturing support, engineering support, help from people who are educators and professionals in the field. They would get the assistance to get their products to market, which is about $10,000 in assistance, that they would receive. And so who could not do that? I mean, why would I not, participate to see a client that I'm coaching get this $10,000 in support, and then they get all the other services at a much, lower cost than they would pay if they had to go, to someone directly and get it. So that was one of my main reasons. It was a win-win-win, a win for us in that we had access to resources at the college now for our clients, a win for our clients because they had the direct support from the Department of Commerce, because that's where the money comes from. Okay. And it was a win, of course, for the communities because they would now receive products, that would actually get to market and not just get, the patent and sit, as 70% of the other, products that go to market, get. And so there are lots of other alliances that we have, but that one in particular really helps, to make sure that there's financial support for clients. But to answer your question more appropriately, we seek out alliances with others that will provide a unique perspective or a unique opportunity for the people that we serve, or that gives us the ability to serve people better. So we're going after two different types of alliances. And as a result of that, we've been able to get grants. We've aligned ourselves with certain tech companies, and we were able to get access to their software that gave us the ability to serve people faster, to provide more for them. So these are the kinds of things, we believe in tech, team, and tools. Okay. And so if we can have that as a resource, then it helps us. It helps them.
Yeah. So I'm curious, with regards to partnerships, I've had many where it's been one-sided. It's clearly one of the partners is benefiting more so than the other. Is there anything that you've learned through your partnerships to better advise how to have a win-win partnership or relationship to avoid someone getting the larger benefit or perhaps being taken advantage of?
Oh, absolutely. So in some of the partnerships, you have to provide put all the cards on the table, where this is what I have to offer. And then you have to insist that they do the same. Because if everyone is not clear about the part that they will play, then it's easy for someone to feel like they've been taken advantage of or even to be taken advantage of. And so that's one of the things that I had to learn early on, because there are many times where I have a lot to offer, and I mean, I'm not bragging about that. I'm just saying I've, spent the time and the money and the energy to have a lot of tools, okay, that I can offer. And, it's easy for someone who would like to have a lot or to come in and say, you know what, oh, wow, she has a lot to offer and to want to take. And so we've been in that situation before, my husband and I, when we started a company, and we've had people to latch on, and we were like, oh my God. And we didn't get legal involved. We had, agreements that we didn't understand. And so the other side of that is, please, 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 whatever you do, take the time to get the counsel necessary before you sign agreements. Because if you are not proficient in business law, and even if you are proficient, sometimes you miss things. And so having a second set of eyes, paying for Legal Shield or, Rocket Lawyer, or some of these programs like that, where you can have someone look over the contracts, bring certain things to your attention, or get good tech. I have a wonderful software that I just run all my contracts through, and it will tell me this particular contract needs this, this, and this in order to make it fair. Okay.
I think that's excellent advice. No, those little bits of information are helpful because I clearly know that many of us are involved in these types of relationships and maybe haven't gone to the extent of even making them legal or binding, but more of just kind of the general handshake. But we do need to go to that point of making them a little bit more official. And at the same time, need to be attentive to what's being written down because whether it be an email or a contract, there's a lot of expectations that are expected. And unless you can be very clear as to what those are, you're just setting it up for failure. Somebody's going to be disappointed along the way.
Well, even if I can say this too, Roger, I sometimes will share this, on podcasts, and I've done it a couple of times on TV as well. When we've had these types of conversations, people don't understand the ramifications. And when you own the company, you could own the crime just because of the fact that you did not have a demarcation between this is what I'm doing, this is what you're doing. You can have insurance all day long, but if you have something that actually goes over onto into another area, it could be, especially dealing with finances. I was in mortgage at one point in time, and I had a situation where I did almost 5 full years in prison because of something that I did not know and something that was connected to me. And 4 years into it, of course, it comes out that I should never have been there. But the point is that it was because of a business arrangement. And I didn't have this knowledge that I now have. Mm-hmm. So risk is important. Threats are important. Managing operational, activities is extremely important, because it could have gone a different way for me if I had the knowledge ahead of time and I would have signed certain things or included, just an attorney in my, situation in the business that I had at that time. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I've been at this for a minute. And I'm just saying to people that it's very important that they take the time to do all of the things necessary when they are bringing other people into their business.
I really appreciate you bringing that let's say focus on all this because there are ramifications, legal ramifications, life ramifications when some of these decisions that we're actually making or partnerships that we're diving into actually occur. So just to presume that things are just going to haphazardly, happily move along is not always the case.
No. Yeah. And then, having the resilience and agility, in your business to know if something's not going the right way, stop. It's okay.
And
just
ask for help.
Ask for help, ask questions, so that okay, why are we doing this? Okay, why did things change? How do we correct? Especially, when it comes to client-facing things, because a lot of times when we're in the background, no one is seeing what's happening in the background. But in the forefront, when you have client-facing issues, it's so important that you just stop and take the minute or two to find out what needs to happen to course correct and put things back on track.
Well, having had the experiences you've had, I think that's excellent advice that we should just be a little bit more inclined to pause, reflect, and just assess what's going on before we just keep jumping forward and rushing into things. Yeah, very good. Okay. Now, you've actually said a few things here that I want to dive into, one of which is regarding your husband. Usually behind successful individuals is that support, the individual that's saying, okay, I believe in you, I support you. I've seen many people who attest their success to the fact that they didn't feel as if they were doing it alone. What can you say about that? I know that you're very tight with your husband and he's very involved. He's a good man. What can you tell me about what your successes are as they relate to the support you've received?
Oh gosh, I mean, there'd be no way that I could do any of this without him. And when we met, we both had companies. So this is how, this is how serious this is. We married our companies before we married ourselves, which is really interesting. We both had consulting firms. We were both doing several different things that were different, but then we had some common, things in our companies. And when we joined forces, it just made a stronger company. I chose to, release the name that I had been doing business under. And when we merged the companies, we took on his company's name. And he had the brand recognition. He had, a lot of things that would be beneficial to both of us, to do it. And within 60 days of us merging the companies, we made more money than either one of us had made separate. So it was a very good partnership, and we also have always worked together in the same space. We never wanted to office away from each other. We've never tired of being around each other. We are, I guess, involved in a kind of a coaching relationship
Mhm.
where we coach each other on things, but we also still have companies that are not together, so which is another thing. We've grown in our entrepreneurial endeavors, and so he has still been a part of the nonprofit, and he is avid supporter of everything that I do with the coaching side of what I do. But as far as how we do business again with compassion. I'm always pushing him. He's written over 40 books, and I've been pushing him the whole time. I wouldn't write one book until he finished a certain amount of his books, and that was by choice because I knew what it would take for him to get his books to market, and I knew that I could not be a part of everything without helping him focus on his first. And so that was a decision that we made. The same thing with college. I didn't want to go back to school to get another degree until he had finished what he was doing in school. And we just have regard for each other that way. He's made some, sacrifices for me as well. There's certain things that he sacrificed so that I could take care of those things first because of the fact that he knew that if I was going to launch in a way that was going to be powerful and progressive, he needed to push, me
Yep.
in those areas. And so now he's launching a huge, company. And in this particular way, he's having to bow out of some of the things that he's been helping me, but he's making sure that I have this support. He's training his replacements. And it's an amazing relationship. I have no idea what other people do, when they're working together, because I haven't really dived that much into it. But I can say this, as far as a legacy, I have no other person that I could credit, and as far as human, that I can credit that to, because he has really helped me to create legacy for our children and to help them understand the concept of having a family business and what it really means.
I absolutely love that. One of the things that's really been standing out recently in the conversations I'm having are two things, and you've kind of brought them up. And it's first of all, compromise. Just as you're working with other individuals, particularly within the family, there are things that you have to compromise on, maybe set aside. And that brings me to my second point, which is sacrifice. And you clearly mentioned that each of you are sacrificing in order to help and basically enable that individual to be successful. And so it's nice to see that you figured that out and it's working for you. Get your copy of Red to Black. It is the book written for accounting professionals to help businesses turn around and go from being in the red to being in the black. This book is written for consultants, business owners, operators, and managers, no matter what your client's product or service, or irrespective of your talent, skill, or expertise. As an accounting professional, you'll be able to use the principles presented in this book to actually become, for your clients, the profit and growth expert. Every chapter is filled with principles and concepts that you can use immediately with your clients to lead them from being in the red to being more profitable in their business, and see you as, in fact, their guide, their coach, with the expertise and wisdom that you can bring from this book. In the book, you have how-to guide explanations, you have models that you can follow, you're shown how to actually calculate and determine the fees for your services, the actual model that you'll use during the implementation of all this, and most importantly, the end-all results with your clients. Get this book now and see what it is you can do to offer this new revenue-producing service as, in fact, the profit and growth expert. For more information on how you can take advantage of this offer, go to the episode description and there get the information you need to take advantage of this today. So I want to go back, and this is a question I should have asked earlier, and I didn't want to go too much farther without asking it. And you brought up the book, Fluency in Finance, that you had written and that you give it out. I'm just curious, what are some of the key financial principles that are in there that you can just briefly share with us as a more or less a summary or takeaway for us?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, in the book Fluency in Finance, I talk about the fact that, that we have three pillars and within the guise of finance. We have money, we have wealth, and we have legacy. And that those are progressive. We have the concept of money, and that money really is just a representative of value. And we're huge on value. And in that book, we talk about value and the fact that money is a language, that it is an expression of value. And I go really in depth explaining to people that, you go to the grocery store, you have $500. You're going to walk in the grocery store and walk out with about $500 worth of groceries. You're not getting $5,000 worth of groceries with $500. It's just not going to happen. But if you're able to understand that how money works, that if you could translate or convert it from one expression of value to another expression of value, you could actually, expand its capacity. And so in the book, I talk about, the being able to look at the other expressions of value and taking the cash that you have and putting it into something that will give it the ability to stretch out a little more and to have more capacity. But we also talk about, the activities or the tools that you can use to protect your legacy and how, being able to have a little bit more knowledge and being more fluid at using those tools could protect your family from your business. Okay, because sometimes your business makes your family more vulnerable. And if you put in certain protections, now you have the ability to use the business in a way that makes sense for growing the family's wealth and protecting the family's wealth, but also putting in the LLCs or the corporations or even a business trust or holding company, something that actually protects the family from being from the risk. Something can happen in your business and your family now has a lien against the house because of the fact that the house wasn't put in a trust. So we talk about all those little bitty things that can be done to make sure that a person is more fluent in financial matters and that they are using the language, appropriately.
I love it. And the fact that you've got the three pillars, very easy to understand, and one of which was legacy. So I have to ask you, with your children, what is the legacy that you hope that they're seeing as they watch you and your husband do what you do? What are you hoping that they're actually being inspired to understand about life?
Oh, wow. Well, one of the things that I know that and I've gotten this from them because I have asked, what did you get? Resilience has been the number one
Mm.
thing that has come from every one of them that has responded. Not everybody responded yet because I told them I wanted them to really think about it, but um, they're all saying the same thing that are the ones that did respond. Resilience, being able to not allow an event to define your entire life. Okay. And being, flexible. Okay. That's another particular thing because life happens and without your permission. Okay. I got that from my husband. It doesn't ask permission to happen. And so
Yeah.
as a result of that, you have to, be, have the availability of, inside of you to okay, become this at this time, to become this at this time. You have to sometimes evolve, and have the solutions to the problems, that are even going on in your own life. And then the other thing is to that 100% of the things that we have in this country when it comes to products and services have been created by someone who had a business. And we talk to them about having a business. And so of the daughters that I birthed, three out of the five have already started their businesses. Two walked away from their jobs and are working full time in their businesses now. And one is supplementing her business with her everyday job, just for a little bit longer. One is in universal accounting and she's learning so that she can start her business real soon. So we've got, a lot of this type of activity going on in our family, and it is we serve each other. I have one daughter who serves another daughter. Her business serves another daughter's business, providing the graphic arts and social media marketing. I have another daughter who's serving us by building our assets out in the metaverse, and she does all of our social media marketing, and she streams all of our content, in her streaming company. And so we have that kind of synergy going on as well.
I love it. Clearly, they've gotten the entrepreneurial bug, so that is wonderful. I actually find that exciting. So, last question. You've had your personal struggles, challenges, just some things that obviously have helped define who you are, but they don't define who you are. Tell me, what are some of those behind the scenes struggles and triumphs that you've learned from that have helped you become who you are, though?
Some of the challenges that I have faced is that I had a mental health issue in my early adult life. All of my memories all of my memories were lost, and they all returned when I was about 22. And when I say all of the memories, I don't mean like I didn't, I had short-term memory where you and I could have a conversation and, everything seemed totally fine to everyone else. I was teaching college and no one knew that I had long-term memory loss. And at a certain point in time, because I had gone to college from ninth grade, I started in college the very next month after I finished ninth grade. And, from there, I mean, I was really a brilliant kid, but there was a traumatic event that occurred and it repressed my memories. And as a result of that, when they all came rushing back, that created an enormous issue. And so I had to learn how to manage that and still go to college and parent and be a wife and, have all of these. And at that time I was in the ministry, and I had to learn how to still continue life, even though I had this issue that was going on. And I had to learn how to not be afraid to talk about it, because back then you didn't talk about mental health. If you mention mental health, you can lose your job, and I was working a real job. I was teaching college, and teaching regular school. So I, had to be really careful how I curated the conversation. But I like to think that because I was so open about a lot of things to help others, it made a way for, in the places where I was, in the workplace, opportunities became abundant in those schools and, for people who did have challenges to get help and to talk about it and to help others, So that's one of the areas. But another area, Roger, is just being born in a time and a place where financially there were things that separated people. If you had money, you could participate. If you didn't have money, you could not. And so that was another challenge that I had to learn how to use faith to overcome, because I don't do well when people tell me you can't participate. So I had to begin to see things differently. And as a result of that, it gave me the ability to create the companies because I didn't see any barriers as barriers. I saw them as perceived barriers. I didn't see a no as a hard no. I saw it as a not now. Okay. And, so a lot of the things that people, see as a reason to not move forward in business were never reasons for me. They were actually fuel, and it helped me to say, okay, I got to do this. I have to make it happen, because the people who need what I have, they can't hear my no. They just know that they have a need.
Yep. No, this is wonderful. I really appreciate you sharing all this with us today, because I think there's been some good golden nuggets in here that we can each latch into. And here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to kind of dive in now and do a summary. And before I do that, I want to point out to our listeners that we actually have two things that I'd like them to take advantage of in the episode descriptions. Patience has been so kind as to offer one of her books called Power Stations 3.0, as well as getting information regarding her information related to fluency in finance. I want you to go to the episode description and get information as to how you can receive those and take advantage of those bits of wisdom that she's sharing, and more importantly, find out a little bit more about the many projects and partnerships that she's involved in by going to the office or the episode description. In addition, I want to invite you to take advantage of the opportunity to get an ebook called Your Strategic Accountant. It's designed to actually help you understand what you can be doing to offer premier accounting services to your clients and becoming for them their strategic accountant. The other thing I'd like to do as a summary is just kind of wrap up a few things as it relates to what it is that Patience shared with us today. Clearly, she started with her story, and she began with not only working with numbers, but an entrepreneurial background. And in starting her companies, she's mentioned that she comes at it from an idea of caring. It's servicing. It's actually trying to help other individuals. And one of the things that she clearly embeds into that is the idea of education, trying to educate those that she's working with to not have them feel intimidated or uneducated, but rather help them have curiosity to learn and ask questions about the things that she's doing for them. And at the same time, doing this from the standpoint of you can do this. I mean, she had here at the very end this attitude of barriers not being the case. No does not mean no. It means not now. I think those are excellent examples of fortitude and persistence. But the other thing that I'd like to just tap on or mention here is her willingness to see the challenges that she's faced, the mental health issues that she shared, the challenges that she's experienced. Those are life, or that comes from life. Life just happens. And her husband was wise to point out that those things will come, but it's how we actually push through them. And whether it be through the faith that we have, through the people that we have, we can get the support and resources that we need to persevere and come out on the other side happy and successful. And she's a demonstration of that. So Patience, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing these various things. So here's what I'd like to do is just ask, do you have a final thought?
Oh, absolutely. Never stop learning. The way that Roger and I got connected is because of a learning opportunity. And it's been such a blessing for me to be a part of Universal Accounting because the knowledge that I have, ascertained through the programs that are available through them has been tremendous in helping me to prepare and run a premier accounting firm. And so never stop learning. Always look for opportunities to, infuse yourself, to engage with others, and then to give back once you've learned. I think that this is the one way that we can begin to really create a culture, that is more than about money. It's about service.
Well, I'm going to just say amen and thank you. That is wonderful. There you go. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you again for being on the show. For my listeners, I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to subscribe to the podcast. Definitely go to whatever platform you'd prefer and basically like us, share us, set your reminders so you get notified for each and every week when we release a new episode. Just basically take the time to subscribe and join us each and every week for these wonderful conversations. The other thing I want to encourage you to do is to go to universalaccounting.com, and there you'll find in the episode or the navigation of the website, the podcast section. We've collected a number of things that we've put together in playlists, kind of highlights, if you will, of various conversations that I've had over the years. It's there in those playlists that you can dive deep into very specific topics that you'd like to actually know more about, hearing from the experts as it relates to topics that are relevant to you and your business today. I'd also like to invite you to GrowCon. GrowCon is an annual conference that we have for owners of bookkeeping, accounting, and tax businesses, and you need to be there. It is a conference where we put on the stage the experts. It's where you actually meet with your peers, hear from others that are actually doing as you are, collaborate with them, and also at the same time meet the staff here at Universal Accounting Center, those individuals that are committed to your success and allow you to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. The other thing that I'd like to point out is if you have or would like to discuss more information about these topics or other things that we've been discussing, feel free to reach out to us. You can contact us at Universal Accounting Center by going to universalaccountingschool.com, or you can actually give us a phone call at 801-265-3777. And always remember this, if it's about accounting, it is universal. Take care and have a great day out there.